Are you looking for the most landlord-friendly states? Well, it's hard to pin down whether a state is landlord-friendly or not because state law is complex and counties can have their own overlaying legislation. However, there are certain things to look for that definitely make it easier for a landlord to manage a property and collect rent. Now, to be clear, these aren't factors which make being a tenant harder, but rather rules that give landlords more control over how they manage their properties. Several factors can make a state more objectively landlord-friendly. Those factors include no rent control, low property taxes, favorable or no security deposit laws, speedy eviction process, additional tenant rights, and COVID-19 related regulations still in place. So let's talk about the most landlord-friendly states. Keep in mind that what makes a state landlord-friendly is partly subjective and therefore will depend on you to decide the optimal environment for your rental property investing. In no particular order, these are the 15 most landlord-friendly states. Alabama has a favorable eviction process with a 7 to 14 day notice depending on the reason. It has the second lowest property tax rate behind Hawaii at 0.42%. There are no laws governing late rent fees, allowing you to charge as much as you'd like, and Alabama gives 60 days to return security deposits. Arizona has a low property tax rate of 0.62%, a fast eviction process with 5 days notice for unpaid rent, a rent security deposit of 1.5 months, and no rent control. Also in Arizona, tenants cannot withhold rent for any reason. Colorado has a property tax rate of 0.49%, a fast eviction process with 3 days notice for unpaid rent, no security deposit limit, and no rent control laws. Florida has no rent control and no security deposit limit. In Florida, the security deposit can be returned in up to 60 days in some circumstances, and there is only a 12-hour reasonable notice for entry. Georgia has no rent control and no security deposit limit. It has a lower than average property tax rate of 0.83%, and there are no guidelines for eviction notices. Illinois has no security deposit limit and allows up to a 45-day return time for deposits. The state has a faster than average 10-day notice to vacate for eviction notices. Indiana has no security deposit limit, a 45-day deposit return period, a 10-day notice for evictions, and a low 0.87% property tax rate. Kentucky has no security deposit limit, a deposit return window of 30 to 60 days, no late fee limit, a low 0.86% property tax rate, and a 15-day eviction notice. Louisiana has no rent control, no security deposit limit, and a 3-day eviction notice. Michigan has a 30-day security deposit return window and lax rental laws in general. In this state, lease adjustments can be made with a 30-day notice. North Carolina has no rent control, a low property tax rate of 0.78%, and a 10-day eviction notice with 0-day notice for lease violations. Ohio has no security deposit limit, a 30-day security deposit return period, and a 3-day eviction notice. Pennsylvania has a 10-day eviction notice and a high average rental income of $1,300. Texas has no rent control laws and no security deposit limit, a 30-day deposit return period, and no rules regarding notice to enter for non-emergencies. And finally, West Virginia has a low property tax rate of 0.57% and no security deposit limit. The state has a 65-day deposit return period and no repair and deduct laws for tenants. In addition, there is a 0-day eviction notice. Now, here's something important to remember. Cities and counties have their own rental laws that layer on top of any state laws. So don't just look at your state's laws. Be sure to compare your local counties so you're at least familiar with the differences in rental laws between them. And keep in mind, a state doesn't have to make this list to be a good place to invest. This list is just meant to give you clues about which states are a bit easier to work with. All states can have great rental markets and bad rental markets, just like the country itself. Well, that's it for this video. If you want more real estate content for your business, make sure you check out our YouTube channel for more DoorLoop videos, such as everything you need to know about condo property management and the top 19 landlord tips to get the most from your properties. Remember to like this video, share it, and of course, subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time.